Okay, guys, welcome to this interview of the very first guild that I'm interviewing of Tel'abim. It's namely one of the officers of the guild Travelers. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What is your in-game name?
My in-game name is Talena.
Talena.
A rogue.
A rogue. And I heard that
Yes.
you are a female, which is very nice because that's the very first female guest on the show. So guys, they do exist. You do play as a female rogue. What exactly are you doing in your guild specifically?
So I am known for a few things in my guild in Travelers. So I am an officer. I have been an officer since I was level 20 odd. Our guild leader reached out to ask, hey, we need some help running the guild bank. It's a mess. And I was like, perfect. I love organization. I can help with this. Don't worry. So I primarily run the guild bank. I make sure that we're stocked with mats, potions, whatever you need. Give people all the items. So that has in turn led me to be called Guild Mom. So everyone comes to me and goes, Guild Mom, I need some mats, or Guild Mom's fighting over there. Yeah, so so that's quite interesting, a little moniker that we have. So that's kind of then spiraled into our raid leaders being called Raid Dads and Guild Dad. So it's become very family orientated in that way. So it's a little fun kind of in-joke that we have.
What a happy family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't look at the family tree though. That's a bit weird. But that's kind of where, like, how we're kind of building kind of our lead officers and everything, that it is very much like a close family and everything. But that's my primary role, is just to make sure that everyone is getting what they need, can progress, can get the like quest item mats that they need, particularly for the AQ stuff, and make sure everything's organized and nice.
Guild Mom is getting the kids ready for school.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you have your packed lunch? Yes, you do. Here you go. Off you go. Have fun at school, kids. So yeah,
Nice.
so that's kind of what I primarily do, and you can usually find me dancing on the Stormwind Fountain as well outside the bank. So that's where I usually am, and people will come up to me with lockboxes, being a rogue, so I do that as well. Or I'm an alchemist, so I do like the guild alchemy stuff. So I'm a jack of all trades, really.
A bit of a coincidence, I am also called the Guild Mom, by the way. But that's because I play a female character, so that's how I became Mom Sheal. Well, back to you, to your guild, of course. It's been noted that several active guilds on Tel'abim have roots in Travelers. So can you elaborate on how Travelers has served as a launching pad for other communities?
Yeah, so we are one of the biggest and one of like the older guilds in the server. And when our current guild leader came to be our guild leader, the previous guy who set Travelers up, just one day just quit the game, just left. So the guild was kind of living in limbo at that point. And so he took it over and just kind of built it as a leveling guild. We weren't really doing much outside of people coming to level. It became a space where if you were new to the game, if you were a low level, this is the guild that you joined. And this is the guild that you came in and you got to 60, and then you went on to a different guild that was doing raids or whatever, because we just didn't have the people to do this. And then one day, I think like kind of nearly over Christmas, over New Year, we just got so big in terms of having so many people reaching 60 and staying, that we were going, hey, we can do things now. So we were starting to do ZG, and then we got into BWL. And at the time, we were then running 2 parallel BWL raids with full 40 people. So we were doing like 80 people doing BWL just from Travelers alone. But then when you have so many people have different interests, people have different wants, different needs. You can't please everybody. So people do splinter off. They go, hey, this kind of slow and steady pace isn't for me, or I don't particularly like the raid schedule, or I want to go do more PvP. And people naturally splinter off and go. And so one of our more recent breaks was with a new guild called Phoenix. They were our North American kind of player base in Travelers. And they went off because they wanted something different. They wanted a different experience. They wanted better raid times. And so it's things like that where people go en masse. Hey, I've got a couple of friends and we want to do something different. We're going to go off and join Guild 1, 2, 3, or 4 because that suits our needs better. So they've always had their roots in Travelers. They said, hey, I had a really good time leveling at Travelers. that was a good experience for me, but I want more. And now we're at a good point as well where we can do stuff on our own.
Yeah, I understand, but do you emphasize that open door policy for other people to create their own communities, or is it something that just happens naturally in your guild?
It's a bit of both, you know, like, as I said, like people come in leveling and they go, oh, actually, I really want to do more, so I'm going to go up and level. Or people just really decide to be like, I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to take away what I've learned and do something new. And we're a very neutral guild within the community. Like, we don't want any beef with people. We don't want any negativity with people. So if people leave and want to do something different, that is fine. If they want to come back, they're more than welcome to come back. Our motto as travelers is like, you know, we're the home for the homeless. So if you do end up, you know, having, you know, another guild not working for you, or you're new to the game, or you actually just want to try something different, you want to experience a different, you know, having an alt in a different guild, we will totally accept you, you know. And that's why, like, I think we have about 700 people in our guild, and I think at our peak we have around 200 to 300 people active.
Wow.
At a time, which for our server is a lot for our small server. So it is a massive community, but people are welcome to join if they like. They can have an alt, you know, a break away from maybe a really hardcore raiding guild, and they just like, I just want to level in peace and just have a little quiet time. More than welcome to do that. So Travelers does have an open door and even a revolving door policy. If you want to go after a couple of months after you level, you know, you're fine, but you're more than welcome back.
Okay, well, that's very lovely, but how would you describe the overall guild culture then, if it's so many different people in one place together?
Yeah. So as I kind of alluded to, like, no one, with that many people being online and that many people in our guild, you can't please everyone. Someone's always going to have issue with something. Someone's always going to bring something up, and that can lead to disagreements and all this kind of thing. But we have a really lovely, supportive officer team who really advocate for the players that we have. You know, we want to try and make sure that the many are pleased, but, you know, we can't please everyone, and we want to make sure that that is understood. So we do really over communicate as best we can. You know, I will have like sessions with people or like the whole guild to be like, hey, we brought in a new rule and this is what it means. Does anybody have any questions? So we really want to make sure that people fully understand what we're about. Everything is completely open, you know, and if you don't agree with it, you're more than welcome to come to me, come to another officer and discuss it. And we want to make sure that people know what they're getting into. You know, we don't want it to be a nasty surprise for people.
Yeah, that's of course how you organize it in a leadership way. However, how does the culture between members stand with all those different kind of people? How do they communicate? Do they do stuff together? Do they get to know each other? Are smaller communities being formed within Travelers, for example?
Yeah, so you would have a lot of real life friends playing. So there would be a couple of 2 or 3 people there, or we've had some really lovely friendships blossom as well. We've had people come over like in a group from like a different guild and set up camp, and that's kind of what they do. So there's all these different little inter-communities within it, but we do come together in raids or anything like that, and we do try to help one another out. We do really try to encourage a place where you can just play the game. Like, you know, our guild leader says, you know, I'm here to play the game, to escape from reality, to have fun, to experience what the content is. We do a lot of stuff that focus mainly on the content of the game, and we leave the real world behind. We emphasize that in our kind of culture. So when we see something that kind of breaks those kind of rules, we kind of shove it down. You know, we redirect it and we refocus it because we want people to enjoy the game and we want people to have fun playing this game.
For new players joining Turtle WoW, especially on Tel'abim, of course, what can they expect when becoming a part of Travelers if they are all alone?
Yeah, if they're all alone, what I would suggest, kind of the best advice I could give, because it can be overwhelming when you're a brand new player and you don't have a safety net of a friend or someone playing, is that just be really open. Just chat, like we have that wonderful kind of anonymity of being on the internet. You can be this character. Speak up in guild chat. Know that our officers are gonna 100% be behind you and help you in any way that they can. But if you don't speak up, we don't know. If you're not having a good time, we don't know. But so that would be the best advice, is that know that our officer team is just really happy to help, and that our community at large is very fun, loves a good time, and are willing to go out of their way to help. So that's what I really, really love about the people that we've brought into the guild. But it can be overwhelming, and I completely understand that. Particularly, I remember when I first went into Stormwind and I saw these neck-scared players, and there's me in my little grey leathers, being like, oh gosh, how am I going to fit in with this community? How am I going to be a part of it? But kind of with travelers as well, and come with the wider Tel'abim community, people are really, really nice. You just have to open up a dialogue with them. And that's kind of the same with travelers. Just open up a dialogue, even if it's a whisper, an in-game mail, something on our Discord. Just be present and be active, because then you'll get so much out of it. You'll get so much experience. You'll get help. You'll make new friends. And that's kind of the best way I would advise people joining travelers, is just speak up and know that you are supported.
Okay, thank you. Last question. Looking ahead, what are Travelers' goals and plans to continue supporting and enriching the Tel'abim community?
So we, as I said, we're a neutral guild, and we have a lot of good relationships with other guilds. There's a guild called Ret, and they're really good at doing pugs for the higher level raids, and they bring travelers along. So we are a slow and steady guild. We're only kind of farming BWMC, and we're starting to progress through AQ40. So people want to get the gear, they want to experience the content, but other guilds are really helpful in that way, that they let us join their pugs, or may help us go on raids, or they come in and go, hey, actually we have a really good strategy for this dungeon, let's show you. So that's kind of where we stand kind of within the community, is just that we have this wonderful relationship with the other guilds, and even with some of the Horde guilds as well. We're working to try and set up some world PvP stuff, and get that going kind of more frequently, just to keep kind of that PvP aspect of our server going. So we're trying to really build in as a nice foundation where people can go out and branch out and find new things. They can stay in Travelers, but know it's a slow and steady, but they have options to go off and experience the different parts of the content, because we're starting to build up these relationships with different guilds from Horde and Alliance.
So if I want to make one specific word, pick one specific word for Travelers, you are the ambassadors of the server.
That would be really nice if we are. It would be great if that was how people felt. That'd be wonderful, because we do want to be this open community and let people come in and give them a safe space to explore the game.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we're going into the next music segment, and do you have a specific song you'd like to request?
Yes, so one of our officers is a diehard fan of this band, Sleep Token, with the song Emergence.
Sleep Token with Emergence. Enjoy. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.